Hello there. Welcome to today's episode of Find Your Voice. My name is Joe Cramond, and today we have a very special guest, Tony R. Kitchens. He's got 32 years' experience as an entrepreneur and speaker and coach. And it'd be great to have him on the show. Welcome, Tony. How are you?
Good morning, Joe. How are you doing today? Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking to your audience today.
No, great stuff. Well, it's actually afternoon here in the UK. Whereabouts are you based, Tony?
In Georgia, in the U.S. So you guys are
Uh,
about 5 hours ahead of us, I believe.
yeah, I think so. So it's pretty early morning start for you. So
Yeah,
so yeah, Tony, if you can just elaborate on what you do and what your business is about.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm a speaker and I do consulting as well for people looking to start businesses, startups, as well as mature businesses, anywhere from 0 to 10 years. And I take those people on a journey from where they are today to where they're trying to go in the future, and just putting together all of the experience that I've had over the years in entrepreneurship and business, having founded 5 different corporations, taking that
Wow.
wisdom and expertise and helping them to scale at a faster pace than they normally would without guidance.
Well, that's a huge amount of experience. Yeah, that sounds very valuable. Wonderful. Well, Tony, it's great to have you on the show. What we'll do is we'll hit you some sort of quick fire questions, pretty sort of standard stuff, and just get you to learn so we can all learn a bit more about what you're about and your insights and expertise. So when you're ready, we'll get started.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay, so if you had a business card, Tony, what would it say?
Entrepreneur, for sure.
Entrepreneur. Straight to the point. Okay, perfect. Okay, so why on paper should you have never been successful?
Because I did not finish college.
Fair enough. So that's the main reason then. So did you have struggles in sort of early life at the time, or was it just a case you had to start work, or what was the reason you didn't finish? Was it just not for you back then?
Yeah, I started and I spent more time working at college doing entrepreneurial things than I did in class.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was just the passion. That was the thing that I really enjoyed more than anything. So I spent all of my time doing that as opposed to going to class.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you wanted to make money from an early age, and yeah, that makes sense, definitely. Okay, so if we asked 10 of your old schoolmates about you, then how would they have described you?
Dependable, credible, truly dedicated to our friendships.
No, that's good. That's good to know. So, were you the kind of person they'd come to if they wanted like a business sort of idea, or they had something in their mind and they wanted you to help them build, or were they sort of were you reaching out to other people because you had business ideas? How did that sort of work in school for you?
Well, I think early on it was more than the business side because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was very young in grammar school, based on my uncle owning a company. However, from my friend's standpoint, they would come to me for advice and guidance, but it was more of confidence more than anything. It was them trusting that they can talk to me about certain things and that information would stay confident between the two of us. And I think that
Yeah,
that just led to relationships I have today.
no, that's interesting to know. So, were you a confident sort of child at school? Were you quite like well spoken and like easy to chat to, or were you quite shy and reserved? How would you describe yourself back then?
I was very quiet. I was
Okay,
extremely quiet. I remember, for example, I think in second grade it was my teacher asked me to be Joseph for a Christmas play. And my
right.
mom thought, how are you going to speak? You don't even, you just the quiet. I never got in trouble in school when I was in grammar school. So I was extremely quiet, not shy. I was just a quiet person.
Hmm. They say still waters run deep, don't they? So sometimes the quiet ones are the ones that have got the most going on up here. So yeah, that's interesting to know. So when was the last time you did something that scared you?
Great question. Don't know. Not much scares me. I would say though, in my latter years, I don't like roller coasters.
All right,
I
okay,
would
fair
say
enough.
that was probably within the past 5 or 6 years with my son not wanting to get on a roller coaster. That's probably what it was.
And now you're all right with that, are you? You've sort of overcome that fear.
I just I've resigned to say, you know what, I've ridden many roller coasters in my life, especially as a youth, and I don't have to do it. I have nothing to prove, so I don't ride them anymore.
No, that's fair enough. I've seen some pretty scary slingshot videos. The slingshot ones where they're in the thing that I think that would really cause me an upset stomach, to be perfectly honest. So,
Yeah, those are not for me. I've seen those.
okay. So, if you're writing a script for a movie about your life, what would you say the opening scene would be? How would it start?
I would say the opening scene would probably be the end of the movie. And then from there, it will go backwards and explain how I got there. And it will probably be me and my wife sitting on the beach in Puerto Rico, just on the beach with my son and his kids, just looking at the sunset.
Lovely. That sounds a great film. Okay, so what technology is making you nervous at the moment?
All of it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Well, what I mean by that is take AI, for example. Everybody's so excited about Chat GPT. And here's the thing that I know major corporations right now are faced with the fact that people don't want to work. They want to stay at home and do remote work. They want to go in the office 1 or 2 days a week. And the thing I know about corporations and as an employer, the there's no argument for that. But what you do is you build systems and processes so you don't have to depend on people. So I think by people not wanting to work and telling employers they don't want to go into an office, they're really eliminating jobs for themselves and the rest of the working class, probably within the next several years, where the corporations now are having to figure out how to do what they do without people.
Hmm.
And everybody wants a shortcut right now. It sounds good. Sit at home, do nothing, work in your PJs. But these corporations will adapt. They're going to eliminate the need for humans to do the job. And then those same people who don't want to work but are capable of working will not have an opportunity to work. So that's
Hmm.
scary.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess the only thing with the chat GCP is the prompting. So people have to still input the prompts for it to do what it needs you to do. So there's an element of prompt engineering, and there could be some opportunities for people to get involved in that side of it, to sort of help the AI become more human. But then, like as you say, if it becomes more human, then it's more of a threat as well. So it's going to be an interesting balance to see how that can not affect society overall too much, because we can't afford for people not to be working. It's going to be an interesting, potentially very turbulent time. So I
It's
think,
true.
and the corporations need to make money from people consuming and purchasing goods. If they're not earning and they're not making the money, they're not going to do that as much. So they need to be thinking of all of this, which I'm sure they are. So
Yeah.
uh,
Everybody's running to join the technology and to embrace it without thinking whether it's really something that's going to provide the results they're looking for down the road. It's
hmm,
immediate gratification versus what's the long-term impact.
yeah, no, of course. So if you were to give some advice to somebody who's looking at a career change, for example, just going off the topic slightly, what would you recommend that they can do that would be quite future proof for them?
Absolutely. I think real estate is always going to be a solid area to be in. I'm not sure from an employee standpoint what that will look like, but I would definitely say investing in real estate across
Hmm.
the world, not just in the US, is extremely important for people's foundation, their financial foundation. As far as careers are concerned, definitely something in the tech space. Not quite sure all of the jobs. I mean, coding was very hot within the past couple of years. With AI today, though, that a computer can write a program for you. You just tell it what the outcome is. I'm not sure if coding is going to be that, but something in tech for sure. Maybe in
Hmm.
robotics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the next phase, isn't it? Is plugging these systems into actual physical robots. Yeah,
Yeah.
so going down the Terminator route or whatever, or iRobot with Will Smith. That was a great film, but it's scary when you
Until
look
the
at
end.
it. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so for a $10,000 bet, then what can you confidently do better at the moment than Chat GPT?
Better than Chat GPT. Not quite sure. That's a good question
Mm,
because they seem to be dominating just they're taking all of the oxygen out of the room when it comes to tech and
mm.
what's going on now with AI. I'm not quite sure on that answer.
I think from listening to you, I think speaking would be 100%, because that chat GTP, PT, I can't get my way around, it cannot speak well. It's not, as in it can produce, the text and that you can feed it the right prompts and it can give you incredible language, but it's actually having that human conversation, really getting to the understanding on a human level with somebody in a conversation is something that, we need to still have. It's very valuable. So,
Absolutely.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, what weakness wise, then, what would you say is the weakness that you're working on at the moment? What a weakness of yours?
I would say as far as my personal life is concerned, it's making sure that I stay relevant, not just from the outside, but the inside. Meaning that I'm constantly reading, constantly making sure that I am keeping my mind sharp, that I'm keeping focused on educating myself instead of watching too many videos of cats falling out of trees
Mm.
that are really kind of dumb you down. So, from a personal standpoint, the weakness is probably focusing on developing my skills and my personality and my characteristics and traits as opposed to focusing on or letting those things die as I get older.
Mm. Do you find that you get distracted with some of the stuff on social media and just a lot of the general, like, are you into football games, or is it baseball and American football and stuff like that? Is there things
no,
that
I'm
take
ext-
away
I'm
your
ex- no, I'm extremely focused on business. I was a
attention?
huge sports fan a long time ago. I want to date myself, but when the Bulls were at their highlight, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bears, and I fell off after that because I realized it just consumed too much of my time watching 82. I mean, I love the Bulls when Jordan played, but having to watch 82 games a year for 2 hours, that's a lot of time. And
Mm.
I can't get into that today. And as far as social media is concerned, I'm very, very specific about what I do on social media. I'm typically in and out within a couple of minutes. I post, I check the very specific people that I follow,
Mhm.
which are typically business people, and then I hop right off. I mean, I literally log out of the apps. I don't want to see any notifications from them. I don't want
Really?
any dings, any of that.
That's an interesting strategy. I mean, the problem I've heard is that a lot of the algorithms now are focused on engagement. So they want you to stay on the platform and actually like and comment. And when you do that, it actually helps the algorithms send your posts out further to a further audience, because they don't want people to just log in and log out. But it's an interesting one. I mean, yeah, it's for your mental health, especially, and for focus, it's important not to be spending too much time on these platforms, definitely. So,
Yeah. And understanding their strategy, they want you to post and they want you to be engaged because that keeps
mm,
other users on the platform so they can sell more ads. So when you think about it, it's not for your mental health, it's for their bottom line. And I don't
yeah,
choose to buy into that.
no, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree, definitely. So, 60 seconds, I know it can be under or over, but teach me and the audience something that will change our lives.
Where you are today is not where you're going to be tomorrow. And what I mean by that is the things that you do today, good or bad, are going to show up in a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. So, what I would tell people, think about where you want to be in a year, 5 years, 6 months. And this very day, take 3 to 5 steps. They're going to move you toward that goal. If you don't, in 6 months, 6 months will be here before you know it. Now, if you haven't taken action to move in the direction that you want to go, then you'll just be where life takes you, which may not be where you want to be.
It's great advice. Yeah, it's really, really good. So, okay, so with more of the advice side of things, 20-year-old self, if it's watching, he's watching the show right now, what would you advise him?
I would say to diversify, especially in business, diversify and but focused, be focused in on one primary business that you create and you make into this entity that's a money making entity, meaning that it's self sustaining even when you aren't there and it's extremely profitable. The other thing I would do once I had that in place and that was a well oiled machine, I would definitely do 2 or 3 other investments and not necessarily investing in crypto and things of that nature because that's too risky for my taste. But I would probably do 2 or 3 other ventures, either investing in a really good business platform or actually having another corporation. So I would definitely say to diversify my business portfolio to probably at least 3 different entities. From a personal standpoint, just continue to focus on educating myself, which I've done. But I think that that's something that, as I look back, it's something that I did. A lot of biographies, a lot of autobiographies. I would probably do even more. Even though I used to read a book a week. It's a little difficult to do that now, but I would just reconfirm that that's something that's extremely important in the latter part of my life, and I would make sure in the younger part of my life that I knew how important it really was.
Yeah, that's really interesting to know. I can see some books in the background there. Is that your book you published?
It is. It's called The Gift of Pain, and I wrote that self-published book, my first book, and Joe, it turned out to be 343 pages. My editor actually cut out probably 100 pages worth of content. So I had a lot to say when I wrote that book, which a little bit more than a year ago. But
Yeah,
everybody who's read it absolutely loves it.
that sounds great. So what's it about? So how would you summarize it?
It's a memoir. It's about all of the difficult times that I faced in life and how I overcame those times to achieve a great level of success, not just from a business or financial standpoint, but to be able to achieve success in faith, to achieve success in resilience and toughness, mental toughness especially. And it's an awesome collection of just life experiences that I know everybody can connect with at some level.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, at the end of the show, if you have a website and obviously any sort of links you want to sort of pass on to our audience for them to check the book out, then that will be great if you can share that with us as well, Tony. So, last question then. So, what 3 words would you want written on your epitaph? So, how would people describe you in those times?
Best dad ever.
No, that's very good. That's good. That's good. Okay. It's probably one of the best answers I've had, to be honest, for quite a while. That's a good one. All right. Well, Tony, it's been absolutely wonderful. And I think you've given us some really good insights into who you are and you've offered some great value to the audience. So, how can we reach you if we want to check out where your book?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate being here. And hopefully the audience got something out of this conversation that you and I had. As far as the book is concerned, people can find it at giftofpainbook.com. So again, giftofpainbook.com. Or they can go to my website, which is tonyrkitchens.com. All of the social links are at the bottom. There's a shop button up the upper right-hand corner where you can find the book, audio version, ebook, and paperback version.
Perfect. Wonderful. Well, great. And also for our audience, anyone out there who wants to tell their story and become a thought leader within their industry, we actually do help authors as well. We do online book tours to help them promote their books. So join us at podcastguesting.pro. Check us out online, and we've got all the information. And hopefully, we'll be able to help you move things forward and move the needle for you online as well. So great. Well, Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, look after yourself. And thanks very much for your time.
You as well. Thank you, Joe. Have a great day.
No problems. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye.